So the generation gap. All right.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. The generation gap is so interesting because I'm sure in the 1980s or 1990s when that era of rap was still popping, um, when it first came out, that people who were older than them at that time were like, "What are you doing? Like, what is this? What is this new thing? Hip hop? What is that? I don't. We listen to jazz over here, sir. We listen to soul over here, sir. What's good with that?" So it's just every generation loves what their generation did, and and because of how fondly and how strongly they feel about what their generation accomplished, they're always going to hold on to that, which makes complete sense. um but at the same time, you have to recognize that things evolve. Life evolves. TV in 1950s isn't TV now. Same thing with hip hop, like if you go back to 1990s and you listen to Biggie and you listen to J. Cole now, there's some similarities, but it's still different in terms of instrumentals, in terms of flows and things of that nature. Like the game has just evolved over the 40 plus years that it's been existing. Um, so that being said, I think that when you're looking at new artists like Travis Scott, Lil Uzi, like you mentioned, Future, even Drake, Drake is someone who is really, really good at being able to still, most of his music now is really identifies with this generation than it did like the generation of Kendrick and J. Cole. He's not really much of a lyricist right now. So it's really just about understanding that things evolve. Drake is someone who understands that. And I don't think that I think it's I think it's something that goes both ways. I think that younger generation should try to understand where the older generation is coming from. Like go back to listen to 50 Cent, go back listening to Biggie, go back listening to Rakim, go back listening to uh Pete Rock, CL Smooth. But at the same time, the older generation should still understand that they shouldn't be mad about the younger generation doing exactly what they did, but just in a different way. So now it's hip hop becoming more subjugated, having more subgenres. You have hip rock over there, you have hip hop over there. You have people who are still lyricists, you have people who just want to sing, and that is a beautiful thing for hip hop because we're not getting hip hop is not getting to be the number one genre in America without mixing in these rock elements, without mixing these pop elements, without expanding, without growing, without accepting what's different. We're not getting to number one without doing that. And that needs to be recognized because that brings in the other crowds the like hip hop is really becoming pop music when you listen to new artists like 24K Golden, when you listen to Ian Dior, when you listen to Lil Tecca, Lil Uzi to an extent. um there's so many artists who have just been able to not really have to rely on their words and their lyricism anymore. You can really just rely on the flow and your ear for good beats, and you could be successful. So I say all that to say that's a lot of hanging points that I'm leaving there. But I say that to say that I think that the generation gap is something that over time it has started to become bridged. It's becoming closer together. Like hip hop, I haven't really heard many old heads really talk about this generation of hip hop negatively in the same way that you maybe did in 2015 when Young Thug was coming out and people were like, what the fuck is this nigga doing? So I'm glad that there is that type of unity in hip hop, but at the same time, I think it's just to appreciate, like knowing how to appreciate different eras. You're probably not going to be able to appreciate Drake in the 1980s, especially now with all the different genre hopping that he's doing when he's hopping on R&B songs, and now he's doing UK drill and all these other things. You're probably not going to appreciate that. So it's just really a time of artists being able to do what they want and being free, and I support that.